guys, Charlie Hustle here. I just want to put a quick video guide together for you guys to show you how I decided to hook up my Hauppaugge HD PVR with HDMI cables. If you didn't know, first of all, the Hauppaugge HD PVR, link in the description as usual, and that goes for everything we'll mention in the video, is probably the most popular HD PVR in the gaming community. So most of the commentators you see posting videos on the YouTubes out there, they're probably using the HD PVR from Hauppauge. And unfortunately, this unit does not support HDMI. So in my situation, I needed to use HDMI because that's all my monitor, this Samsung gaming monitor, allowed to come into it. It did not have components, so I needed to find a way around this. And there's a couple options, so I just want to show you guys the options and then what I did and why. So getting started, this was my gaming setup, fairly typical Xbox headset and gaming monitor. So what Hauppaugge would recommend you do on their typical setup is throw your HD PVR right in between your Xbox and your monitor, run a USB cable over to your computer, and then take your audio out of your Xbox with an optical cable and then patch it back over to your headset. Everything passes through the Hauppaugge. The Hauppaugge gets it from the Xbox to your computer by USB, and everyone's happy. This works just fine if your display will take the inputs that the Hauppaugge outputs. Unfortunately, like I said, mine does not. So what I would need to do in this setup is throw a converter in here. And what that'll do is that'll take that component cable coming out of the Hauppaugge and transfer it over to an HDMI, which then I can put into my monitor. Now this is a very efficient setup, and a lot of people out there run this setup. It's fairly common. I know there's some questions out there about input lag due to having to pass through all this equipment before it gets to your monitor, but I can tell you there's a lot of YouTube commentators out there running this very setup, and I have heard absolutely zero comments about input lag, so I would not worry about that at all. However, there are some drawbacks. Number one, with everything passing through your Hauppaugge, it will need to be on. It doesn't necessarily need to be recording, but it needs to be on in order to play your Xbox or your console or whatever you're recording from, or just playing on rather, for that matter. Number two, if you wish to remove your Hauppaugge and let's say hook it up to something else for the time being, you would need to change 3 or 4 cables around in order to get this whole thing to work again. It would be quite the undertaking to do so. And that was important for me because I plan on using my HD PVR to also record things off of my cable DVR box. If your household's anything like mine, we have many people trying to use the DVR, all vying for space on there, and we're constantly against that hard drive buffer on there. So we need to get things off there on a fairly timely fashion so that way we can open up room for new shows. So here's what I did. I got a splitter for HDMI. So I had the same setup at the top that I had before, put the splitter in line, and what that does is it takes the one HDMI coming out of the Xbox and splits it into 2 signals. The first signal goes into the gaming monitor. The second signal goes down to a converter, which now converts from HDMI to component and then runs into the Hauppaugge. For audio, the Astro A40s actually have a pass-through on them, so I was able just to hook that up with another optical cable and into the Hauppaugge HD PVR. And this setup works great because, as you can see, the Hauppaugge's at the end of the stream, so I can take that offline, I cannot turn it on, and still have everything work just fine. So this is what I did. Like I said, either way, you can either put the converter in line after the Hauppaugge, like they recommend, or set it up like this. You do have to buy one extra piece of equipment here. Shouldn't be that big of an issue. Again, I'll put links to everything that you need for these setups in the description. And as usual, any questions you have, hit me up in the comments. I try to get to them as quickly as possible. And that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.